We have a trade. The Vegas Golden Knights trade Pavel Dorofeyev to the New York Rangers.
And just like that, the door is open for increased optimism for a Ranger rebound. Hi, everyone. Happy summer. Welcome to our Rangers Offseason Special presented by Chase. Alongside Steve Valiquette, I'm John Giannone. July 4th comes and all of a sudden, hockey talk.
We're here. You know, John, it's the word that comes to mind is optimism. And it's earned optimism. It's not blind optimism. I think that when you assess the Rangers' top six, it's a completely different look. It's a fresh look. And I think on the back end, when you look at the energy that the team has added, they're going to be a team that gets out of their zone cleaner. Up the ice and through the neutral zone is really the difficulty the team had last year. I think that the one area that still is going to get addressed is 5-on-5 scoring, and we'll get there during this show.
Yeah, well, off a last place finish in the Eastern Conference last year, the Ranger mandate was to change, improve, and basically just get better, upgrade. And Pavel Dorofeyev is the cornerstone of all of that effort. After the last two seasons in Vegas that produced 72 goals and a magnificent run to the Stanley Cup final this spring in Vegas. Steve, where do you think he makes the Rangers most dangerous?
Well, he's definitely going to help the power play, and the power play was already quite elite. And quite elite, I mean, last year the Rangers did finish 5th in power play goal percentage. So when you see the right side acumen of this player, you're going to notice that 26 of his goals last year were scored from the right side of the ice. His one-timer off the left-handed shot is elite, and he's the type of player that you don't get him to help your power play. You get him for the all well-rounded offensive player that he is. He's not a play driver as a playmaker, but he's a sniper and one of the league's best.
But he also does seem to score the vast majority of his goals from below the dots, so he's not necessarily a perimeter player.
No, not at all. And, it's funny, too, because he's a very varied shooter. He had 10 goals off a snapshot, 10 off a wrist shot. He had 4 backhand goals. He had 5 off a slap shot. He was one of 4 players in the NHL last year that had that variability in his arsenal. So he's somebody that you can't really get a beat on, and that's why he's had so much success these last couple of years.
Yeah, the face of the Rangers did undergo a bit of a facelift this summer, and Dorofeyev isn't the only name that we see either come and go. Dorofeyev, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Joe Veleno, they'll all tagged for forward spots on the big club this year. Young Cole Bodwin brings a lot of offensive promise, Steve. We could see him at some point. President and General Manager Chris Drury also bolstered the back line. Sean Durzi and Marcus Pettersson are now Rangers. Jonas Korpisalo was brought in to back up Igor Shesterkin. Gone from New York, of course, Vincent Trocheck. He goes to Utah. Adam Edstrom to Nashville, Brett Berard to Montreal, Will Borgen to Boston, and Jonathan Quick to the comforts of home. But when you look at what has happened, comings and goings, I think the name that stands out beyond Dorofeyev is Vincent Trocheck. Yeah. After 4 seasons in New York that produced some memorable moments, Trocheck is now in Utah.
Yeah, look, 3 seasons ago, John, he had a career year with 77 points. The team had a great season, President's Trophy. It's just what happens in the NHL when the leadership group doesn't get the team across the finish line and doesn't get them into the playoffs. The trades are made. And getting Durzi, it was a big deal for the Rangers because they had to get a player on the ice that was going to help them get out of their zone. And he's a puck transporter. The thing about Durzi, spoke to the coaching staff at Utah today. They said this guy is loved by his teammates. He sticks up for everybody. He's very popular in the locker room, but he also adds a lot of that energy on the ice. You see the way that he plays his game, and he really can add the offensive elements. Sometimes he has that bite to him that Pettersson will also bring. And this is a second pair now that you can really rely on for playing big minutes and supporting Gavrikov and Fox. Pettersson plays physical. Big guy, 6'5", lanky, long. But, his minus 19 last year, it's because he was playing for Vancouver. It's not because he's a minus defender. He's been in the league 11 years. There's only been a minus one other year, and it was a -2. Same for Durzi. These guys can play D. They're a little risky sometimes offensively, at least Durzi can be, but Pettersson will be there as a safety net.
Yeah, and Pettersson has a pedigree and an involvement with the head coach, Mike Sullivan. They were together in Pittsburgh. They figured to be that second pair for the Rangers. Rangers had the 5th overall pick in the draft in late June, and they seem to have their pick of the litter of potential franchise defensemen, and they ended up with Alberts Smits. And is he ever going to be a player, a special player in the NHL? The Rangers were thrilled that he was available with the number 5 overall pick, and they picked him. He caught the attention of so many across the hockey landscape playing in the Olympics, and among them, our own Kenny Albert, who watched him play and said he was very impressive in Milan. He was the youngest men's hockey player to compete in an Olympics involving NHL players. That goes back decades. He only turned 18 in December. Played 18.44 per game, 4th most on Latvia, and assisted on the game-winning goal in the upset win over Germany. And the NHL Central Scouting Group already has seen comparisons to one blue-chip blue liner in the NHL.
There was actually one Finnish defenseman who also played in the under-20. He played in the Olympics and he played in the men's World Championships, and his name was Miro Heiskanen, and now Smits is doing the same thing.
Worked out okay for him.
I think there is a chance that Smits might be the first defenseman drafted.
Or the first European drafted.
Yeah, could be both.
Wow.
That was a recording from NHL Central Scouting before the draft. So words of praise when you compare anybody at the age of 18 to Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah, look, I think that what you want from the player coming in is just to show up and be respectful to the surroundings, but be hardworking, keep their nose clean and head down, and have that effort. And, you know, that's what I heard about this player. I heard he's really serious. And it looks to me like even if it doesn't work out for him to make the roster out of camp, Hartford's going to be stacked next year. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they've got a lot of players that kind of reminds me of that era where we had Dan Girardi and we had Dubinsky and Callahan. Those young guys, they feed off each other. And if he's going to be the serious one in the locker room, that's okay too. And that's the impression I get from how serious he is about being a hockey player in his game.
Yeah, there was a concerted effort from Chris Drury and the Rangers organization to get younger and improve the pool of prospects. And when you look at this group right now, all Rangers, all 21 or younger, all first-round picks. Smits, as we see, Gabe Perreault already in the NHL as a top 6 with the Rangers. We had mentioned Bodwin and what he might be able to do. He was acquired as part of the deal for Trocheck. Liam Greentree, of course, came to the Rangers in the deal for Artemi Panarin from LA. EJ Emery, picked late in the draft 2 years ago, a Ranger prospect as well. So there are a whole lot of that. And when you consider what one player has already done for the Rangers, Gabe Perreault has made the Rangers excited.
This makes it real for everybody, because when you see a young player crack the lineup and then find footing to the point where he pushes himself to the top line at the end of the year, where Perreault made his money, for me, really was in the last 25 games. He's got games with Zibanejad, Lafreniere on that line. And, John, that was a line that had 18 goals and defended really well. They had 65% of the goal share. You like what they're doing as a line, which lends you to believe they're going to start as a line next season.
Yeah, there's no doubt the Rangers have gotten younger, but the core of this team is still the A-listers. It's a seasoned group with a collective wealth of skill and a collective chip on their shoulders after last year.